Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the first season of The Old Man. And this is created by Robert Levine, who had previously created Black Sails and did writing on the show C on Apple TV+. And this story focuses on a former CIA officer who's living off the grid, finds himself on the run from the people who want to kill him, and this man is played by Jeff Bridges. And Jeff Bridges, back from his battle with cancer, absolutely kills it in the show with his intense, and he does some interesting work here because he's balancing between two different kinds of Jeff Bridges. Because you have the moments where he's connecting with this woman who he winds up, unfortunately because of circumstances, connecting with, which genuinely they do like each other, but she's whipped up into this crazy situation because he's living a dangerous life. And Amy Brenneman plays this woman, Zoe, and she does a really fantastic job in this show. She has great chemistry with Bridges, and in those moments, Bridges is like that cool, calm, collected like Jeff Bridges. But when he turns it on, he goes full-blown intense and kind of frightening Jeff Bridges right out of like Iron Man and his more villainous role in Tron Legacy. You have those kinds of balances between Jeff Bridges, and he moves between them so perfectly. He's bringing a lot of range into this role. I would say this is some of his best work in a long time, but like he's still doing great work in a lot of films. So like he does such a fantastic job in this show, and he carries the weight of this show. But you also have this agent who's coming after him, John Lithgow, who absolutely kills it in this show as well. And there's moments where both of them are commanding scenes with some of the other actors, or with each other, which is an absolute treat, where it's just incredible acting going on. You have Aaliyah Shawkat, who plays Angela, who works for John Lithgow's character, and there's a lot of mystery around her in this show, but she gives a really strong performance. And then you do have Amy Brenneman, who I mentioned, who honestly gets to really flex some ability in terms of her acting, some range. She has to act against a towering performance from Jeff Bridges, and it really works. Now, from a directing standpoint, John Watts, who now famously is the trilogy director of the new MCU Spider-Man films, he comes in here, directs 2 of the 7 episodes this season, and in general the direction is very intense. There's a lot of great suspense built up in each of these episodes. There's explosive violence and action at certain points that is really engaging and delivers plenty of thrills. Now, I have to say, from like a writing standpoint, I feel like this story could have been told in one season, one mini-series, but I feel like they're like, we're going to stretch this out, and it does feel stretched out in the 7 episodes, trying to get to where we want to get to. And it does feel a little long in the tooth at certain times, but they're just such great acting and some really impressive writing in a lot of these scenes and in these episodes. They do have a lot of flashbacks that kind of sets the stage for what's happening in the present time, which there's a crazy web that brings all these characters together. But I do feel like this flashback sequence are considerably less interesting. They do have some great casting for like the younger versions. So like Bill Heck is a great younger Dan Chase, but like the actor that they get to play younger John Lithgow is so fantastic, and he's so believable. Christopher Redmond, and it's just like, it feels so natural, and like could be a younger John Lithgow, it feels like. But those sequences don't feel as interesting, and I feel like they kind of stop the momentum in their tracks whenever they cut back. But it leaves you on a very interesting and intriguing place where this last episode ends, and I feel like this is going to wind up being like 2 seasons of just like this story cut in half. I just have that vibe from it, especially where this finale leaves off, which leaves off in an interesting but meaningful place. Two things happen at the very end that I feel like one of them makes a lot of sense, and I honestly thought that was going to be the last shot of the season. And then another one that just kind of captures the essence of what this show really is about, and age coming for all of us. And I feel like the show really does a good job of capturing that and our past coming back for us. And in general, I thought this was really strong first season. It definitely has some familiar beats in shows kind of like this, but just great acting and some just compelling interactions really rise this show up. And it's definitely a must-see on FX on Hulu. But those are my thoughts on season 1 of The Old Man. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies and TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.